cause I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider. From the Bay to LA to Las Vegas.
Just win, baby.
A boss player. And if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider. From the Bay to LA to Las Vegas. Cause I'm a player, boss player. And if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider.
What's going on, Raider Nation? This is the Real Raiders podcast. This is our first episode. I go by the name of Victor Freeze.
Mariano.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's
you
right.
know, that's right. That's right. You know that's right.
That's right.
But you know, we're starting off this Raiders podcast because we just love talking about the nation, man. So
Absolutely.
you know, and who else to talk about it with you guys, the nation itself. So man, so this is our first ever Raiders podcast. We have a fantasy podcast. I don't know, some of you guys might follow us from there to here, but this is a Raiders podcast. Anything you want to chime in on this Raiders podcast?
Yeah. For the most part, I'm going to try to give you guys unbiased information about the Raiders. And occasionally I'll sprinkle in some bias, right? In my honest opinion, that's the thing moving forward is that I see a lot of content regarding the Raiders day in and day out. I love it. I love it so much that I wanted to be a part of it, you know? So I think me and Vic had thought this up before the end of last year. We had been talking about it for a while, so we decided to roll it out.
Exactly.
And make it happen, man. This is our passion. This is what we do. We've said it before on the fantasy podcast. So now it's time to make the transition into our real love and desire of
home
the
team.
Raiders, the home team.
So basically, in this first episode of the podcast, we're going to do a brief intro of us because, you know, Raider Nation online, it gets a little funky, and I don't want no one to question the legitimacy of this page or nothing if we're real fans. So we're going to squash that out in the first episode so there's no questions, Mariano.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go the state of the organization right now, our thoughts and opinions on it right now. And then we're going to do free agent targets because free agency starts next week, next Monday to be exact. So it's a big, important time. So let's get it rocking and rolling. Mariano, do the brief intro right now.
Yeah, so as far as myself, right, my earliest memory of the Raiders, you see, I was born in 93, so I remember the 02 season, and that's probably what roped me in. My dad's had me in Raider gear since I was a young buck, but those are my earliest memories of when we had Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Rich Gannon, Charlie Gardner.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, that's what wrote me in. Moving forward, and as I grew older, I learned the history and the legacy of the Raiders between Kenny the Snake Stabler, right? Jack Tatum. I used to love watching those
old school games.
Old school games.
Real dirty games.
The highlight reels of how vicious and malicious the Raiders were. You know, so that's just a little bit background of how I became a Raider fan. I was basically born into it because of my father. But also it carried on through my playing days too. You know what I mean? So it's just never ended. Oh, and by the way, I got a whole half sleeve of a Raider tat. It's literally from the top of my shoulder all the way down to my elbow. It says One Nation at the top, baby. You know, anyone
you can never
else,
quit the team.
I can't. Nope. I cannot. And anyone else, any team that tries to self-proclaim them as a nation, there's only one.
One nation, baby.
There's only one. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right, for me, so like my earliest memory, Raider memory, is I was watching the Super Bowl. Pissed, bro. Pissed. I was eating a burger and all the interceptions and everything. I was like, we're getting dogged, bro. And that's my earliest memory. I remember I was at, Champs? I was getting a Rich Gannon jersey. I remember that, a white one. I still got it to this day. I'll show it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I still got that jersey. But I remember asking my dad to buy this. And the whole reason, like, I got it from my dad too, just like Mariano. And the whole reason my dad was a Raiders fan is when he came here from El Salvador, he worked outside of the stadium in LA.
Oh, okay.
So he was there for that Super Bowl win and everything. So he would go to the games. He worked at the gas station right outside of the stadium, and that's how he became a fan of them. And ever since then, he started watching them. So that's how my family started liking the Raiders. Yeah. Even though my brother's weird and he likes the Niners, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
pride of colors.
But yeah, so that's my history. That's my earliest memory, and that's, you know, how my family got into it. But yeah, so don't question the validity of this, or we'll have to come at your neck. We're not like the other podcasts and nothing. We'll really
100%.
stomp your...
Snap back. Snap back, clap back.
For reals, bro.
Click, clack.
That's how we do it in the Bay, man.
Yeah.
We don't play that.
100%. 100%.
But so what was the next? I forgot what the next one. Oh, the state of the organization, more.
Yeah. So the second segment is the state of the organization. So we are on to segment number 2. My honest opinion of the state of the organization is that we are headed in the right direction. Mm-hmm. It may not have happened as quick as people wanted it to. I mean, obviously, our expectations are very high season in and season out as a Raider fan. As long as I can remember, almost every Raider fan that I've known was saying, man, we're going to the Super Bowl next year.
Always hope. Every offseason.
Always hope. You know what I mean? But I believe that we are solid on one side of the ball, and we have to make a few corrections on the other side of the ball. Mm-hmm. And if you guys are Raider fans, you guys know exactly what we're referring to, you know? So that's my current initial thought. I can go in a little deeper, but I'll let Vic get a few words in.
Yeah, so basically you hit it right on the head, bro. We have an offense, right? We know we have an offense. The offense isn't the problem. Derek Carr isn't the problem. So I know a lot of people are calling for Derek Carr to get moved from this team or get Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. They're not going to make a difference, bro.
Right.
If you don't address the defensive side of the ball,
right,
which is the main issue here, it's not going to change nothing. We're still going to be a team that's, because Deshaun Watson went through the same thing this year. The defensive side of the ball couldn't get any help. His corners are getting burnt every play, and you know, right, you can't like put up 40 points a game. It's not like realistic, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, so aside from that, we know that the offense is cool. This offseason has to be defense, and then we got Gus Bradley now. And I think that's going to do a big help, especially for the younger players. It's going to simplify the defense. Yeah. I think confusion is what got our players wrapped up in these previous 2 seasons with Paul Gunther. I think Gus Bradley is a huge addition, and you know, that simpler cover 3 should help us out on defense for sure.
Yeah, in theory. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I haven't seen a good Raiders defense in quite a while.
Hella long. But, I mean, even dating back to this 2020 season that we had, how many games did we lose in the last few seconds of the game? Yeah. The Miami game, the Charger game, Kansas City. That's 3 right off the top of my head. You know what I mean? So that's the difference between the 8-8 season and an 11-5 season. And the fact that the Jets game was so close too. That's right. That's like another indicating factor where the defense has to get to another level.
100%.
Because back-to-back seasons of bottom 10 defense is not. You're never gonna win like that, bro.
Yeah. For me, I think the biggest thing this offseason is to not so much go heavy in free agency. Mm-hmm. It's more so of drafting the best player available.
Yeah.
Whether it's on offense or defensive side of the ball at number 17 overall this year. I think that's where the good teams really start to distance themselves from other teams. Mm-hmm. Is they kind of veer away from free agency, right? I mean, it's okay to sprinkle in a few players here and there, mm-hmm, but overpaying for players, that's really, really killing us, and it's killed us for a while. I mean, yeah. Javon Walker, years and years ago, that killed us. You know what I mean? So, I mean, even just like this last year, right?
All the contracts that Reggie had to come in and clean up.
And break it all down to build it back up. Even this past year, like, I don't want to see any first-day signings. You know, and as a Raider fan, as a fan in general, you always want to see these big names come to your team. Yeah. But look what we did with Nelson Aguilar, mm-hmm, right? Nelson Aguilar was way late in free agency last year. We signed him to a minimal contract. He's still relatively young and balled out on a $5 million contract.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I want to look forward to, is to see how the Raiders keep progressing. You know what I mean? Obviously, I want to see more talent, but it's got to be at the right price.
Yeah, definitely. And we know from the draft from 2 years ago, the draft from the previous year has some showing up it has to do these next couple of seasons. But
Right.
The Max Crosby, Hunter Renfrow, Trayvon Mullen draft, we know those guys stepping into year 3 are going to play a huge role. And it's definitely going to, you know, maybe this year 3 and Gruden's 4th year and all the continuity in the offense and everything, this could be like the huge leap that we get, especially with those. That's considered one of the best draft classes that we've had in a while, right?
I agree.
So with them taking that third, fourth year, you know, you players usually hit a stride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's good. We got that to look forward to, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this next season, like I do every season,
Like every year, right? Yeah,
every season.
It can't come fast enough. In my honest opinion, I think that the Raiders need a few things on the defensive side of the ball. But really, we just need that dog, man. I mean, we need a real impact player, preferably on the defensive line.
Yeah.
But even on the second level at linebacker, right? I mean, I like Kwiatkowski. I think Littleton will come into his own this year, I hope, right?
Yeah.
But if we just get a dog, man, like someone that really makes impact plays, like your boy that you was talking about earlier,
Ooh.
Leonard Williams.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. That's a little sneak peek. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, man.
Definitely. So that's where we think the organization is right now, as a whole. We're gonna move on to the next segment. This is our last segment. This episode feels like it's going by quick, man.
Very fast. Very fast. It's a quick intro, man.
You're doing what you love, you know.
That's right.
So we're gonna talk about the free agent targets the Raiders should. These are realistic targets too. We're not gonna go ahead and say like get everyone, because we obviously know what the cap situation is like right now.
Right.
And you also got to remember, you got to bring back your guys too, and you got to sign the rookies to their contracts too. You got to leave money for the rookies. That's what people always forget when they talk about free agency.
Right.
So we're gonna do some realistic talking of free agency, and also with the cap situation, we're going to be big. There's not going to be that many big splashes like we were talking about.
Right.
There might be one.
If anything, there's going to be a lot of veteran players that are going to be cut and released that we may have otherwise not expected. If this pandemic didn't hit, a lot of these players probably wouldn't be without a team. You know, so this is going to be a very interesting offseason. None that I don't think I've ever seen, simply for the cap going down this past year, you know.
So we're gonna start off with the needs. What do you think our team needs? What positions?
What positions? I think I'll start on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay.
Right. We just recently released Gabe Jackson. I've heard on NFL Channel that the Raiders are shopping Trent Brown, which I like Trent Brown when he's on the field. Obviously, he's one of the best tackles in the game, right? But other than guard, I mean, we'll see if Simpson steps up this year, that guard out of Clemson from last year, the 2020 draft. We're going to need to address guard at some point. And then really, I want to see a home run hitter at running back. So when Jacobs is out of the game, we don't need another bruising running back. You know what I mean? He lowers his shoulder. He gets the tough yardage. We need someone that can hit a home run. You know,
On the edge.
On the edge, 100%.
A speedster, little
Yeah,
shifter,
like a scat bag.
Yeah.
You know, and not a Jalen Richard. I want to see someone that can, I don't want to say Dalvin Cook because he's a superstar in the league right now.
like a Shady McCoy.
A Shady McCoy, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. A prime Shady McCoy.
Yeah.
You know, and young. I mean, I know that there's a ton of running backs coming out of the draft this year. So that's where I'm at on the offense. What you think, Vic?
On the offense, Yeah, we know Incognito's released. He hasn't been re-signed yet.
Right.
So both of the guards, 2 of our 3 guards that started last year are released, right? Denzel Good is a free agent, so technically he's not on the team either. So
Right.
guard is definitely a thing we're going to look at. Hopefully Incognito signs. Hopefully we retain Denzel Good. Trent Brown, the Raiders are torn basically on what to do with Trent Brown.
Right.
They want to, Gruden's thing is availability.
Right.
If you're not available, I don't want you on my team. And that's a big thing with them. That's how Tyrell Williams is now off of our team,
Right.
So, right tackles definitely might be a need in the near future. So that's to keep in mind, whether draft or free agency. And we run a lot of 3 tight end sets, and now with Jason Witten gone, we might need another tight end. So
No.
you don't think so?
No. I think
We have Monroe and Waller.
Carrier.
Well, Carrier's a free agent.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So that's
And Nick
something.
O'Leary.
Yeah. So that's something to look into too.
Yeah.
Other than that, the offensive line, I think Tom Cable will do a great job with whatever we bring in.
100%.
There's really not, like I said, like we talked about earlier, there's really not much you need to do on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So now going on to the defensive side of the ball, what do you think are some key points we need to address there?
Everything. Get them all out. No. I think defensive line, interior rush,
Yeah.
and of course edge rush too.
Yeah, because with the new Gus Bradley, the cover 3, it's really going to be a lot of the focus is going to be on the defensive line. They got to do their job for the defense to work.
Absolutely. I know I said that I didn't want big names, but if Tampa Bay has a ton of free agents coming up this year.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Godwin being one. I'd love to see him in a Raider uniform though.
He's talking about he's not dumb. He's gonna stay in Tampa, but we'll see.
We'll
You
see.
never know.
They got to pay him, or right. But each team only gets one franchise tag, and Shaq Barrett, if they don't re-sign him, between him and Chris Godwin, I mean, who do you tag?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's true.
If Chris Godwin wants to stay, then maybe he re-signs, and they use the tag on Barrett. But boy, if he leaves, if Shaq Barrett leaves, I want him on the Raiders. 100%. 100%. But I think at every level we need at least one player.
Okay.
Right? So one player for the defensive line, whether that's Leonard Williams, Shaq Barrett. One player on the defensive line, whether it's that rookie linebacker from Notre Dame. And maybe one vet in the backfield. And we definitely need a safety. So I know that the Raiders, Mike Mayock had an interview. What was it, last week? Did you see the interview at all?
This is the one where he was defending Derek Carr being his quarterback?
He was basically talking about this offseason and addressing the needs and stuff that. And I think that they should most certainly sign a veteran free safety for the back end, because we already have Abram. I mean, I don't think we need to have the growing pains of a rookie safety all over again.
Yeah.
I think we need someone with experience in the back end, even if it's Richard Sherman, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would. Gruden. You saw that conversation with Gruden and Sherman. So definitely having a veteran presence in the secondary, and especially with someone of experience too, because there's a difference between being a veteran and having the experience of being on a Super Bowl playoff team and stuff like that. And Sherman checks all those boxes. Yeah. So even if he's not there like starting, right? Even if he's in rotation or whatever, whatever the case may be, he's still, the knowledge there is going to be, just like having another coach. So Sherman would be great at the right price. So I'm not overpaying Sherman.
No.
His last season with the 49ers wasn't that hot.
Right.
He was dealing with the injury, and he was coming back from injury, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the whole season.
I wonder if he could run free. I mean,
how
many corners made the switch from corner to safety? Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson. That man, that's a bad man up there. You know, so that might
Marcus
be an
Joyner
option.
couldn't.
Right. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what PG.
Well, he
was
went
thinking.
from safety to cornerback, right?
He went from corner
To
to
nickel.
safety to corner.
I don't know. We should have just played him at safety. He would have done way better.
I agree. Either way, I'm tired of these undersized players too, man. We went from Carl Joseph to
LaMarcus Joyner.
LaMarcus Joyner. And then we drafted the other dude last year, Emerson.
Robertson.
Emerson or whatever.
Amik Robert. Emerson's long gone, bro.
Yeah. Amik Robertson.
Amik Robertson.
Amik Robertson. I just, with Travis Kelce in our division,
Yeah.
you know, you can't have undersized players trying to guard.
I mean, at least we know Gus Bradley, he's Legion of Boom. He likes those long, lanky, you know what I'm saying, cornerbacks. So that's a good sign.
100%.
But yeah, I think the main targets, if we're going to make a splash, I want it to be it has to be either safety or D-line. I'd prioritize D-line over safety, to be honest.
Yeah.
Defensive line, Leonard Williams, everyone's talking about it. Everyone wants him to the nation. He wants to be a Raider. He said so himself.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get franchise tag, Mariano was talking to me about that earlier. Franchise tag hits on the 9th.
Yeah.
So hopefully he doesn't get franchise tag. He'd be an amazing acquisition. And if we only signed him on free agency and went the rest of the draft, I'm not even tripping, bro.
Yeah. You know what? I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because then, like, aside from him, there's Shelby Harris, which is, we had him.
Former Raider.
He went to the Broncos. He was our 6th-round pick. We cut him. He's been playing decently for the Broncos. He's on the older side, though.
Right.
He's not a bad signing. At the right price, though. He's not an elite player like Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is a game changer.
100%.
You know?
100%.
And then there's Ndamukong Suh also is another D-line prospect, defensive tackle. He's more on the older side, but he just won a Super Bowl, so and he's always been one of the best defensive tackles to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this year he showed that he still got something left in the tank. So, a 1-year, 2-year deal, I wouldn't mind Ndamukong Suh either.
Yeah. I like Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree's gonna be an upcoming free agent from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, definitely a linebacker.
Yeah.
And
What do you think about AJ Green to the Raiders?
I'd preferably prioritize Nelly at the right price, though. It's always right price with everything, of course, you know. Of
course.
I just want to emphasize, because a lot of players are going to be wanting...
Well, here's the thing, too, right? I mean, let's say we don't bring Nelly back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ruggs is supposed to be the deep threat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm really hoping that Ruggs comes out in the sophomore season to be
The player we drafted him to be.
the player.
And not
we
just the
drafted him
decoy.
to be. Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah.
You know? So I really want to see progress from him, obviously.
Yeah.
Just like I'm sure a lot of people do. But I think we need another threat. So Waller's our number one,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I think Brian Edwards showed promise when he's
Towards
on
the
the
end
field.
of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he's on the field, too.
It just makes me a little worried about how much injury trouble he's had,
Yeah,
even dating back to college.
exactly.
You know? I think he's probably a great player when he's healthy. And then now we're getting into the same boat as Trent Brown.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Mhm.
probably a great player, but
Availability.
yeah. if
And
you're
when
not on the
recruiting
field-
don't put up with that shit.
What about Allen Robinson?
Yeah, I would love that. I'd have no problem
That
with
would
that.
be amazing, bro.
Yeah, but like I said, we all know, like we talked about earlier, the offensive side of the ball is looking pretty situated, right? Having a guy like Allen Robinson, it all depends on our cap cuts too, how much money
Right.
we have. If we sign Allen Robinson and Leonard Williams, that's it. Okay, call it a day. Go to draft, whatever.
Right.
I'm cool with
Right.
that, right? I'm definitely good with that. There's no issue with that. You have some of the pressure alleviated from Ruggs, and
What if let me throw another proposal by you, right? What if we let Nelson Aguilar go and we sign T.Y. Hilton?
T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton's on the
What do
older
you
side,
think?
though.
He's 32. I mean, I get it, right?
Yeah.
But he's also, I mean, I guess he did have Phillip Rivers last year.
There's also freaking Juju. Juju's talked about he wants to come to the Raiders.
Coming to the Raiders, yeah. Juju.
And then there's also Corey Davis, the Kenny Gallaudays, Will Fullers.
Yeah.
Those would be excellent. Like I said, all at the right price too, because we're not, the wide receiver market is very deep right now.
Yeah.
In free agency, so hopefully depending. I'm looking at a receiver for 8-9. I'm not nothing more because
right.
We definitely have to put a lot of money into the defense.
Yeah.
The way the cap situation is going,
right.
It's looking like.
Boy, I'm glad we did not sign Jadeveon Clowney. I wanted Jadeveon Clowney.
I did
last
too.
year,
I did
dude.
too.
Big time.
No sacks last season, right?
Did you see his stats? I was gonna say
he had a lot of pressures though, I believe. But yeah. So the wide receivers, it's like if we sign it, it's good. If we don't, I think we're still cool. Would you agree?
Yeah. For receiver?
For receiver, yeah.
Well, I think that we just lack a veteran presence. Who do we have? I mean, we have.
It was Nelly, but.
Yeah, exactly. Ruggs.
Yeah, it's a lot of young
Tyrell
players.
Williams gone. Brian Edwards. We still have
Renfro.
third and Renfro, right? But other than that, I mean, we need a vet.
Yeah.
Too, or really, I'd like to see a big body possession receiver,
Like a Kenny Gallauday
like a Kenny Gallauday
or a Will Fuller.
or Juju. No, Will Fuller, I'm good off of.
Too injury prone.
Too injury prone, and we already got the speedster, man. I mean, I want to see our first round draft pick actually freaking pay off this year,
Yeah.
or at least, most recent. The only one that's panned out after all those draft picks that we've had so far, right? Josh Jacobs is the only real boy. Who else? Who else is there? Right?
Yeah.
Cleve Farrell, he's a solid player. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm looking forward to Cleveland too because last year was like a first real year.
Right.
And then, he was showing strides. He was showing definitely he was getting better.
Yeah.
I think with another year, he'll definitely, not saying he's going to be an elite pass rusher or anything of that nature, but, he'll be a decent starter for us. I'll say. I'll give him that. He's not going to be an elite
I agree.
pass rusher.
You never know. I mean, he might. This could be the year. By 3 years, but after your third year, you should know what you have.
Yeah.
With your rookies or from your draft. After 3 years have gone by,
It's no more excuses.
it's no more. Kind of like how I was with Derek Carr in DC this past season. Before the season started, I was telling everyone it's now or never now.
Yeah. It was like that for the last 2 seasons. It's like It's like Carr, you got to put up or shut up.
Yeah, exactly, right? And he put up. So I'm good at quarterback. I'm good at running back for the most part.
Good at tight end.
Good at tight end.
Got to settle down the wide receivers.
Right. Figure out that one little missing piece at wideout. And bolster the offensive line. See, we're talking pretty much fucking everything,
But it's like it's the offensive line we have more faith in is because we have Tom Cable and Tom Cable's shown what he's done.
Yeah.
Year
in, year out.
Yeah, exactly.
Since Gruden's gotten there. Yeah. And we really just have to hammer home the defense. They got to hit on their draft pick. Simple as that.
So going back to the defensive side of the ball, we keep on we'll do at the end. We'll do like a little quick list. But going back to the defensive side of the ball, I'd like Leonard Williams. I wouldn't mind Shelby Harris, Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Edge. We were talking about Shaq Barrett. I think outside of Shaq Barrett, there's not really that many good edge rushers.
Right.
When it comes to the linebacking, KJ Wright is a big one just because he's familiar with the Gus Bradley system. You said Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree was available too. He'd be a decent linebacker to have in our system.
Yeah.
Veteran secondary presence. My top safeties, if we do sign a safety in free agency, Marcus Williams from the Saints.
Yep.
Amazing safety. Anthony Harris from the Vikings. He's an amazing safety. And there was one more. It was Justin Simmons too, but he's gonna look for big money.
Yeah, big money, and he's probably gonna get franchise tagged.
Probably,
honestly.
huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Pull up the safeties for me real quick.
Yeah.
There was one more, I think, outside of Justin Simmons that I was.
Why does this keep doing that?
It says different. Did you click on the safeties?
Yeah. Click safety. Update.
There it is.
There we go. So we got. I don't even know who Marcel Harris is. Oh, from San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Anthony Harris, Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Ricardo Allen, Trey Boston.
Yeah, so I named really
Malik Hooker, man. I mean, if Malik Hooker could stay healthy, I remember him at Ohio State. He is a true free safety, you know.
Outside of from the guys and Malik Hooker, really.
You said Marcus Williams already.
Marcus
right?
May, yeah, Marcus May too is another one.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. He's a do it all safety.
right.
I mean, yeah. Outside of that, pretty much named the top ones right there, right?
Yeah.
And then, as far as cornerback, Richard Sherman would be a good one. We're not going to spend the big bucks on William Jackson because obviously, you know, there's other places we need to prioritize. I love Patrick Peterson.
Ooh,
I love Patrick Peterson.
That'd be nice.
Bouye, I don't know. He had his moment, but I think that was because Ramsey was there, so I don't know if I'd want him there.
Yeah. DJ Hayden. They could always bring DJ Hayden back.
Hell no. He could die on the field. That man has no heart.
Right. I like Ronald Darby, man. Rashawn Breeland. I mean, Breeland was getting toasted in the Super Bowl, though. He was getting toasted.
But yeah, so I pretty much named my guys right there. Who do you got, Mariano? Name your key players.
Yeah, I like Marcus Williams. I think he'd be a solid pickup as far as the back end goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all that I'd like to see out of free agency is just a veteran safety.
Yeah.
And maybe some depth on the defensive line, right? Because at the moment, our interior rush, we only have Maurice Hurst.
Yeah,
and
Hankins is a free agent.
Yeah, and David Irving,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. We don't have anyone else.
Yep.
So we need interior rush. I honestly think that they're going to draft a young kid out of Alabama.
If they do that with the 17th pick, I don't know.
Barmore.
There's a lot of talk about his hands. His hands aren't the best, you know. So
It's okay. I mean, there's not an Ndamukong Suh in this draft.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Coming out of
I'd rather
Nebraska.
have Brad at Notre Dame.
Oh, the linebacker?
Yeah.
100%.
Well, we're giving too much draft talk in this episode. That's for a whole nother episode.
That's true.
That's
true.
for a whole nother episode. We gotta hold that one in, Mariano.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we hit the
key points.
the free agent targets right. We all
Yeah.
basically laid it on the table. Like we said about free agency, don't expect that big of a splash. Like amongst overall, it might be one big name player, if that, and a
Right.
bunch of depth. You know,
Yeah.
just the way the cap situation is, and you know, look more towards the draft. This probably would be a big year where we gotta hit the nail on the draft. You got to do it every year, but this year with the cap situation and whatnot, you definitely gotta hit the nail on the draft for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're all done with free agency. This is our last topic, so that's it.
That's it, guys.
Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning into this first episode of the Real Raiders podcast. You know, it's gonna be great talking to this football ain't even thinking about starting, but you know, we're here. We're here thinking about it. It started, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I love talking. I look at Raiders stuff every day, so this is nothing talking.
Yeah.
I think an hour went by at this point. I don't know how long it's been, but
yeah,
you know, we're talking. We got to cut ourselves short,
right?
Because we're gonna keep on rambling and rambling.
100%, man. We promise to get more organized.
Yeah.
Right. This is just the first one. You know,
Yeah.
so we're going through a little growing pains right now. But yeah, hopefully you guys liked it. And we'll keep it rolling.
Yeah, definitely. So, It's the first episode, like Mariana talked about. If you liked it, please subscribe. Please tell your friends, and please keep posted. It's just gonna keep on getting better and better. You know, this is only the start. So you know, when we get to the, you know what I'm saying, when the Raiders knocking at our doors, say we want to feature a podcast, it's gonna be at an elite level. So we hope you guys are there for the whole ride. And if you're listening, we appreciate you listening. And we're out, man. Real Raiders.
Signing out.